With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
We made this.
Hello and welcome to We Are Starfleet, a Star Trek podcast. We've been spending quite a bit of time talking Strange New Worlds. We took some time off, and wouldn't you know it, Lower Decks Season 4 came and went. Kind of sad about the going part, to be honest with you. Looking forward to Season 5. We do not have confirmation on release dates or anything like that. However, you can be rest assured that We Are Starfleet is paying very close attention to that Star Trek news bites. We are on the We Made This network of podcasts, and while, yes, we are going to spend a little bit of time today talking about Lower Decks, if you, the listener, are keen to get episodic breakdown coverage, go check out Make It So, a Star Trek legacy podcast. I think that's how they're branding themselves these days, but there is no Star Trek legacy show. So I'm, you just got to wait for all that coverage to happen. In the meantime,
and there never will be a Star Trek legacy show.
There never will be. I don't understand what, I don't know. Who knows?
Nobody wants it. Well, some people want it, but I don't want it. Therefore, it's not happening.
Yep.
With me today is Craig McKenzie and Ashley Thomas, two of my brilliant co-hosts here on We Are Starfleet. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Craig, for coming in. I think I pinged you guys, not even 24 hours ago, if you wanted to talk.
Yeah, Ian's on shore leave, so can't be here.
Yeah. We're not going to knock him out for having shore leave. We saw some pictures, look pretty gorgeous. So
yeah, he's going to climb a mountain, which is pretty cool.
He didn't take his laptop because the last time he took his laptop on shore leave, he broke it.
Oh no!
I broke the screen anyway. I don't know if he got it fixed.
Oh my gosh. So folks, let's get started. Season 4, Star Trek Lower Decks, is a gem of a season, a little too short in my opinion. Ashley, you've been reviewing the show for Fangirlish.
Mm-hmm.
You've been positive. You have lots of great things to say about this. You've been breaking it down. You love all these little Easter eggs in the show. Tell me, high level, yes, I know you loved it. Why did you love it?
I think the thing that I love the most about Lower Decks is, one, it does not cease to make me laugh every single time. But two, even like episodes where I'm like, that was fine. Like, I still had a good time. Like, even episodes that I'm not like super wild and crazy about, we're still having fun. The Easter eggs are fun for those who are a little more versed in Trek. But it's still enjoyable, even if you're not as versed in Trek as folks like we are. I just have a good time every single week whenever I put on Lower Decks. And buddy of mine and I, it's been our thing. We watched the whole season together, and it was fun to have a watch party buddy. So
yeah.
Yeah, so I've had a great time all season, and I think the other thing that I really like is that the writing has just been incredibly consistent. We said on the show before, the writing, in particular for the 2 Star Trek animated series right now, are like head and shoulders above some of the live action stuff we've been getting. Consistently well written. um, good character development. Just can't say enough good things about it. So overall, like this thus far has been my favorite season of Lower Decks to date. So we'll see if season 5 can beat it out for me. And we got a Tendy storyline coming. It probably
Mm,
will because Tendy's my favorite. So
yeah, she's great.
yeah, yeah. So
Craig, same question to you. I know you have been a little bit more, not necessarily critical, but you've been focused on some of these details. And why don't you tell us what you think about the season overall?
Well, I wasn't covering it review wise because I find it difficult to review 20-minute comedy things. I don't think I would have an awful lot to say about them in a written context, but I've enjoyed this season. I think it's it's probably coasting a little bit as a show, as in the quality is very consistent, but it's not boosting itself up in the same way that other Star Trek shows would tend to as they go on, like in the 90s era. Normally, season 3 is the find your feet season, season 4 is where it starts to really ramp up. But it
Okay.
doesn't seem to happen here. It's holding quite nicely. I thought the promotion to lieutenant would give you more storytelling alteration possibilities, but you could have told most of these stories when they were ensigns. I think. I don't think it changed the dynamic of the show too much. And again, that's part of its parentage, isn't it? The idea that everything is exactly the same as it always is, so you can drop in anywhere. But yeah, it's been a good season. I enjoyed it. I think the overall mystery was a bit limp when it was all said and done, but usual good character stuff, usual good fun stories. So yeah, very few complaints. It's a breezy watch.
I like that. I like that. To both of your points about the writing room being super tight and maybe coasting a little bit. Uh do you guys think that maybe it's because it's animated, the overall feeling is like, oh, we don't necessarily have to go above and beyond to prove that we are a Star Trek show. We can just focus on telling these smaller stories.
I think it's just that they're in a rhythm now and they don't want to break with that rhythm or maybe risk too much or risk alienating viewers that are comfortable with the way things are.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I think that with the comfort level, you don't want to rock the boat a whole lot, but the promotion to lieutenant I thought gave the characters some better development with Boimler getting to lead his own away mission and meeting the great koala in the sky, all the way through, of course, we're going to talk about Mariner in a moment, her entire arc of getting busted back down to ensign, and then Commander Ransom believes in her and wants to support her, and then we have that whole tug of war of her feeling of not wanting to go all in on the Starfleet mission. Being an ensign is good enough. Ashley, do you think it was a good take? Are you in agreement with Craig here that it's kind of coasting and that they could have told these stories? Or do you think that the promotion really opened things up?
I think what Craig is saying is fair. Um, but at the same time, I'm also pretty happy with what we did get. So I don't really have too many complaints.
Fair?
Uh, yeah, but I could definitely see Craig's point. Like, could we amp up the tension a little bit? I think we finally did get some of that in that last episode for sure, with Boimler getting to sit in the captain's chair, uh,
Mm,
uh, Tendi taking charge. Like, actually, at one point, telling Captain Freeman, "Stand down. I've
yeah.
got this. You have no authority here." So I'm like, "Wow, dang girl!" And to Captain Freeman's credit, I mean, I think Captain Freeman, even though being the captain, is somewhat egalitarian in her leadership style. Like, if one of her, uh, um, I keep wanting to say underlings, and that's not the right word, but uh,
Subordinates.
subordinates. Like one of her, one of the crew under her command has something to say, or they've got this, or they can handle it. She lets them step to the plate.
Mm.
So I really admire that about her. I think that's good leadership quality and shows equity. Um, so yeah, I'm not dissatisfied with what we got, but I do see Craig's point.
Sure. I think, a lot of the early criticisms of the show back in season one was a little bit surrounding, like, oh, these are idiots in Starfleet. Starfleet is full of competent, talented individuals. What are these kids doing on a starship? And, the story's kind of unfolded. And I think here we see them promoted into their Lieutenant JG positions. They are acting as leaders, they are showing the competence. Boimler in the captain's chair in the final scenes. He's bringing that confidence, he's bringing that heat, and you trust him. You believe in him. You see it happen. And that's something that, I think Wesley Crusher got a couple of his hero moments, and we get to see these characters prove that, yes, they are, in fact, Starfleet.
The competence argument has never been a fair criticism either, because they've never been useless. They've always been good at their jobs. They're just
Exactly.
neurotic in different ways. You can see why they're sort of held back a bit because of just the way they are.
So, specific story arcs within this season, was there anything, the question goes out to the both of you here, was there anything that you specifically loved? Like, I know visiting Ferenginar and Boimler having to do Yelp reviews of all these diners and restaurants, but he winds up sitting in the hotel room watching Ferengi reality TV. I was dying. I love that little skit, just from a TV watcher. I think it's really fun to sit down and conceptualize what alien TV is going to look like. Like Rick and Morty's interdimensional cable improv episodes are always just hilarious. But what did you guys think? What stuck out to you? What'd you love?
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
I think for me, one of the most exciting episodes was Something Borrowed, Something Green, episode 4.
Mm.
Not only is this our first real trip to Orion in Star Trek history, you got to see Tendi on her family home turf. Uh, I got to guest host that episode of Make It So with Brandy Jackala and Clara Cook. And so we had a little girls' trip of our own. So one of the things I said in that particular episode was I found Tendi, being kind of the misfit or the outcast of her family very
Mm.
relatable, because that's basically who I am among my family. And so sometimes I'm a little afraid to uh take some friends home with me, because I'm like, are they going to think I'm super weird because I'm so much different from my family? And or you know I just don't know how it's going to go. So I I really related to this idea of, oh, Tindy kind of downplaying her family's prominence and wealth, uh, her role as mistress of the winter constellations being the prime, uh, and then getting to see some of the Orion customs that were hilarious. Clara said that she would have really loved to have seen the daddy daughter dagger dance.
Mm.
Like I also would have loved to have seen that. Um, probably would have just resulted in Mariner getting more daggers. Like they'll somehow fit 6 daggers in that one spot in her shoulder. So uh I really enjoyed that episode. I also really loved episode 6 that you mentioned, Parth Ferengi's Heart Place, which is
Yes.
apparently a spoof on a thing that I have not seen called Darth something's Dark Place or something. Uh
Yeah, it's a reference. I think it's like a pulpy science fiction novel or
it's I
graphic or
think
something. I'm not quite certain.
I think it's a movie, maybe, or maybe a TV show. I don't know. I'm Brandy clued me into it, so I'm gonna have to look it up now. But uh, I enjoyed that one because we got some, you know, It was like the most fanfic trope ever, and it was actually getting to play out on screen, and I just adored it. Like, oh, fake marriage? Okay, we can do that. We can do that. Craig, you and I got to record that episode of Make It So together as well, and I had to go look up Rutherford and Tindy fanfic afterwards because I'm like, somebody's got to have written a fake marriage one about them, right? Or at least a fake dating. Come on. So anyway, lots of development for Tendi this season. And so I think her
Yeah.
arc was what I followed most closely. And then, of course, culminating in this final episode. And I'm like, dang, it's going to break my heart. Like,
Yeah.
I, felt myself getting a little bit teary because I apparently only get weepy at Star Trek and superhero movies. So anyway, I'll kick it over to Craig, let him talk a little bit. But Tendi's arc, I think, is my favorite.
The caves episode was a highlight for me. I really liked the different stories all taking place within different caves. The idea of in Star Trek that we get stuck in caves a lot. That's just the way it is because cave sets are cheap and we can do that. And it's usually a good way to get some character development going or character interactions going. And it was good fun that just seeing them all go through these wacky adventures. And it was a bit of a summation about how the lieutenant junior grade thing has sort of split them apart, as in the stories are all separate missions, and this is the first mission they've been on together for quite a while. It was really good, and I loved the conspiracy theory guy. It's like the
Levy.
It's
that was really good.
Will 359 was not an inside job. Data's not a hologram, and Voyager's EMH is. So that was a highlight for me. Moopsy was very funny.
Yep.
Although I think the internet has driven that into the ground by now a little bit, but still quite funny.
We can't have cute things on the internet, no.
No, it's just that's it. Every franchise needs their baby Yoda, doesn't it? That's what they're all after.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Moopsy.
Yeah. So
you guys,
so those are major highlights that come immediately to mind. I haven't seen most of these episodes for weeks, so I'm kind of digging into the back of my mind here.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys like the return of Badgie?
I was a little surprised by that, but I don't know. I think I just find myself getting frustrated with sentient AI characters, especially since like AI is such a thing right now. So I'm like, oh man, I get Peanut Hamper, Agamus, and Badgie in one episode. What is this? Now, what I love about that though is because I get so like viscerally annoyed by them. I was like, that's good acting. That's good writing right there. So I appreciate it on that level. So I hope Peanut Hamper is now truly having a mathematically perfect redemption, as well as Agamus. Although I did appreciate that one of the other sentient computers was Darth Tyrannokilicus. That was hilarious.
Yes.
I did laugh about that. Yeah. So
very on the nose.
Badgie is a joke that they have ran into the ground as a show, I think. I feel like it was, it's the Microsoft paperclip. That was a good one episode joke. And the fact that we keep coming back to it is a bit iffy. But having Agamus was back was good because of, Jeffrey Combs. I love the noise he made when he was trying to change his light from red to blue. Just the...
Yep.
Yeah, it worked out really well. I agree with you, Craig. The Badgie thing and then splitting off into Good G and Logic E was a little...
Good G was funny, though. I was like, it's a badge, but bad. And then good. Okay, I'll give him that.
Yeah. It was a little derivative of itself. But overall...
Like, literally.
Yes, exactly. But I like that, Rutherford got to enter into the hero moment. As ensigns, they were kind of literally on the lower decks. They didn't really have a ton of interaction with the command staff except where appropriate. And now they are interacting with command staff on a regular basis. So it's cool to see Rutherford get his moment to step up, save the day, just as we got to see Tendi step up and save the day, just as we get to see Boimler, Mariner, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a good character development for our heroes of the lower decks. But definitely some of the coasting. I see what you're saying there, Craig. The caves episode I also really liked for the same reason as you, Craig, because we got to see them interacting with different characters. And overall, this season just makes me want more Lower Decks. So looking ahead to season 5, Craig, where do you think the show is going to take us?
I feel like it might just be more of the same, although there's rumors that season 5 might be it for the show. Mike McMahon said that they have no guarantees beyond season 5, which just might mean that Paramount haven't committed to spending money on a 6th season yet. Who knows?
Sure.
But I guess if it's a 5th season and a finale comes in with that, then we might see the crew be promoted and transferred or something, or at least some of them. So you'll see, Boimler move into Lieutenant Commander on the Cerritos, and Mariner goes to Lieutenant Commander over on another ship, something like that. I can see that happening. I don't think Tendi will be gone for long, because that's the Star Trek thing, isn't it? Someone leaves at the end of a season and they're back by the end of the first episode of the following season. It's happened on Lower Decks before with Boimler. That was 2 episodes he was gone for, but still. It's the way it used to be, isn't it? Worf leaves at the end of season 5 of TNG, and at the beginning of season 6, he's back almost immediately. Or is it the end of season 4? I forget which one. But whatever season it was, he left and came back. Yeah.
I'm hoping they will stretch that Tendi arc out a little bit. Sure, I want her back on the Cerritos with the rest of our Lower Decks crew, and with her fictional husband, Rutherford. But I think, like she said, this is something I have to do for myself. And so I want to see her grow and kind of accept her Orion heritage a little more, but also I want to see her family accept her for being a scientist and in her chosen profession, and that she can be just as much of a badass as a scientist as she would be as a prime, or, still having the title of Mistress of the Winter Constellations. So, yeah.
I think one thing I love about Tendi leaving, believe it or not, is the effect it has on Rutherford. In the final couple of shots, Rutherford has a very long face, and it's only maybe a second on screen, but it's definitely noticeable. So the whole absence makes the heart grow fonder theme, right? I think in season 1, it was pretty clear that there was a potential romance, a strong, highly potential romance budding between them. And then the whole memory wipe situation occurred. And, now they've just been super close, super tight friends. But as we saw in, the Ferengi Heart Place, they love each other. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I think Rutherford, may finally get over that hump, if you will, and realize that these feelings he has for Tendi are true to him and true to his heart. So I'm excited to see Tendi come back, because I'm excited to see what that dynamic is going to evolve into. And I'm here for it. I think it's great stuff.
I ship them so hard.
We discussed that on the Make It So episode that we did, the idea of there's a definite attraction there, but I actually think it'd be more complicated and more interesting if it didn't lead to a romantic relationship, because attraction doesn't necessarily have to head in that direction.
True.
Part of friendship is attraction. You have an attraction towards someone enough to want to be around them for whatever reason. So I think that they could have a much more complicated friendship that is, that defies romance in a way. And that friendship that you always heard from Picard and Guinan, the idea that, they're beyond friendship, beyond family, but they're not.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
You know, they're not romantically connected. And I would like to see representation for different sorts of relationships on screen everywhere as well, because the will they get together thing is just such a trite and dull question that's always at the heart of a lot of these things.
I hear you. I definitely hear you on that. What about science bestie Talin? Do you think she's going to join the crew of the Cerritos in a more permanent fashion?
Well, she already basically admitted that she's going to do that, doesn't she? She hangs up
Right.
on her Vulcan captain and says, "No, I'm supposed to be here. I'll be here."
Being your science bestie.
I love the way Vulcans show that kind of emotion, right? In their own kind of a way. And I was just thinking about it watching the finale. I watched it again yesterday as it aired. And when she says that, you kind of feel like, girls have their own girl code, right, Ashley? So it's like, the way that she says, Tendi asks, like, "Oh, don't say something you don't mean." And it's so the Vulcan subtlety of the eyebrow raise. Why would I say something I don't mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's best friends.
Yep. Yeah, you see, I've since the last time we all got to record together, I've done a little more watching of TOS, and Spock says stuff like that all the time to like
Yeah.
Kirk and Bones, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that he's got a little bit of whimsy to him in TOS, and people tend to forget that.
Definitely. What do we want to see in season 5? What Craig, what are you hoping to see? Are you looking for a big hero moment? Are you looking to get away from the coasting and get some real tension if it is to be the last season?
Yeah, I would like to see them evolve the storytelling a little bit. Maybe take advantage of the fact that they're lieutenants with more responsibility in some way. Like you say, beef up the interactions with the senior staff, get them involved in more important meetings. Maybe move them to the next stage towards full lieutenant. I don't know how long that's supposed to take, because in Star Trek you have no idea how long it takes for people to get promoted. It's so inconsistent, and it so often happens off screen as well. Between episodes you just see, for example, Dax turn up with an extra pip on her collar or whatever. So so they don't always make a big deal out of the promotion thing of it, but I think the idea of them moving up through the ranks, what's the difference between junior grade lieutenant and full lieutenant? Will we find out?
Yeah. Junior grade lieutenants still handling warp manifold maintenance work as opposed to, piloting the ship. Ashley, what do you want to see coming through season 5?
Well, I think I've already mentioned what the kind of the growth I'm hoping for with Tendi.
Right.
I'm hoping we get some of that with Rutherford too. Like I think, we got a little bit of that last season where Rutherford finally gets his memories back pre-implant, and he knows what happened to him, and so I think he's reconciled. Yeah, that's not the person I am anymore. I think he's got to fully figure out who am I besides super optimistic okie dokie guy. Because I really zeroed in on Rutherford's facial expressions in that last scene of the finale, and he's got a little tears welling up even in his cybernetic eye. I'm like, oh, you can do that. And then when Mariner's like, oh, we're gonna be doing this, that's engineering, that's Rutherford stuff, and Rutherford's like, yeah, I guess. He's still worried about, will Tendi get to do science while she's on Orion? I'm like, oh, I'm interested in that dynamic. I'm also really interested to get to know Talin better. She has been a real delight this season for me. Like, just being her wonderful deadpan Vulcan self, and she's not trying to be funny. It's just she's just being a Vulcan, and I think it's wonderful. So I hope we get more interaction with her, more growth from her as well. I think she's going to have like a a moment of reckoning
Mm.
with her captain. So I wonder if the captain will be persistent in calling and say, "Hey, I want you to come back." And she's going to be like, "No, it is more logical for me to stay here because you suck."
Or
Specifically
force
with
the
that
issue a
line of
little bit.
dialogue.
Yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah.
force the issue a little bit, as in, you've been recalled.
Mhm,
Sorry, you're not our
mhm.
Mm.
officer. We have to give you back.
Yeah, yeah. So I think she's maybe gonna look to cement her place on the Cerritos a little more firmly, so she can be there to be Tendy's science bestie whenever Tendy gets back. So
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm hoping to
mhm.
see now that we've gotten through we've broken the ice on Mariner's character development, right? So we understand that, she lost her best friend and that trauma she's been carrying with her all this time. So now that we've broken through that and she had her own moment of realization and she grew through it, I'd like to see where her talents and skills can take her in Starfleet. I think that she's one of those characters who has the history that, to Craig's point, can get her promoted probably within a week or two, into a proper lieutenant commander position. Will she stay on the Cerritos with her mom? Will she choose to go off onto her own ship? Will she choose to follow her friends? Will they stay together? I'm so curious to see, but it is my professional opinion that if season 5 is to be the last, I'm willing to bet that there might be a time skip halfway through the season, and we might skip forward, 5-10 years to see what Captain Boimler is doing, what Captain Mariner is doing. How are these relationships still being managed? Are they still crewing on the same vessel? And just in general, I think it'd be fun. And I really think that the writing room under Mike McMahon's producing, under Kurtzman's leadership, they're willing to take those risks and show audiences what is happening in the late 24th, 25th centuries.
Could be. If it's the final season, they'll take a lot more risks, I think.
Yeah.
If it looks like they're getting a 6th, they'll probably try and maintain the status quo as much as possible.
Is there anything else on season 4 of Lower Decks that you guys want to talk about that you haven't already talked about over on Make It So?
No, I covered the finale quite extensively. I think the reveal that Locarno was behind everything was a bit muddled. I don't think that necessarily worked. And aspects of what they were doing there worked for me, and aspects of it didn't. But it's all over there on the finale chat.
Yeah, I would say that finale was a little surprising. Those last 2 episodes, because we didn't really have any clues that it was going to be Locarno
No.
leading up to it. And that, I think, if I were going to complain about anything, it would be that. And yet I thought that was such an interesting way to bring back that story, to bring back the Lower Decks episode, which was what inspired Mike McMahon to create Lower
Right.
Decks in the first place. I thought that was a really cool full circle moment. Plus, like, Shannon Phil, who played Sito, hasn't done any acting since like the late 90s. And to bring her out of retirement to, deliver just a few lines, I thought, like, I love that so
One
much.
line of
That
dialogue, yeah, that
Yeah.
could have been done by anybody, pretty much.
But no, Mike's
Yeah.
like, no, we got to have Shannon Phil do this. And, of course, getting to bring in Will Wheaton, and finally getting a little more info about Josh Albert, who was the cadet that was killed
Yeah.
in the first duty. That was great.
Will Wheaton trying to sound 30 years younger.
I know. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. I don't sound like I did 30 years ago either,
Yeah.
thankfully. So, but no, I just thought that was such like a cool way to, and this is something I said in my review of the finale this season, is like, if any other Star Trek series wants to bring in legacy characters, they need to go talk to the writers room at Lower Decks first
Yeah.
and learn how to do this properly. because the way they have brought back every single legacy character has been really tasteful. It's not just there for cheap nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
It's very well done. So I really appreciated that. Also, I knew it was going to happen. It's low hanging fruit, and yet when Rutherford points out he looks just like Tom Paris, and Boyd was like, "No, he doesn't." Like, I still like howled. I knew it was going to happen, and yet it was still so dang funny to
It
me.
was
Like,
so
it's in the
funny.
middle of this tense moment, and here we go. But yeah, that was fun. One other thing I do want to say that I had kind of speculated on, since we've seen this what I kept calling the not slave one, because it
Mhm.
looks like Boba Fett's ship. uh, One thing that I questioned was when we find out that the ships aren't being destroyed, they're just being taken. I was like, has Locarno been doing this for 11 years? Because if you go look up the moment on, the when did Ceto die?
Mm.
When did, what's the year now? I wondered, has Ceto either been held captive, or did she become jaded and join Locarno? That I was like, that's a stretch, but it did give me pause, just because what if her ship didn't actually explode? What
Mm.
what if she had either been taken captive,
Oh, wow.
or
What a
yeah,
thought.
that would have been like a really interesting twist, but they chose not to do that, and I'm totally okay with that. But I thought that was like such an interesting misdirection. And it's like, they had to have thought of that, right? The lower decks folks tend to think of everything. So
Mhm.
I would have been surprised if that didn't cross their minds. But that was something that, as I had been thinking about, like, okay, well, who's actually doing this? What if that had been the case? So
I expected them to reveal that Ceto had survived, actually, but
yeah.
I'm glad that it didn't go that way, because I think her death in the Lower Decks episode is very powerful, and I would have hated to see that undone.
Mm.
But there was actually an idea in Deep Space Nine to find her in a Cardassian labor camp or something like that,
Mhm.
at some point, but they never done anything with it. They decided not to, particularly when on the list it said Thomas Riker was one of the names, and he got sent to a
Yeah.
Cardassian labor camp, and he wasn't expected to make it out alive. I was thinking, well, if he survived, maybe she did.
Mm.
But I'm glad that it didn't go down that way. Although
Yeah.
Mariner knowing Nova Squadron at the Academy, it does make the universe quite small, doesn't it? The idea that she happens to know these specific people. It's, what are the chances? Astronomically, what are the chances?
Mhm.
Well,
I mean, how big is Starfleet Academy?
Well, it's maybe
yeah.
not. Starfleet Academy is whatever size, but Starfleet is massive.
Right.
The whole idea of people running into each other is actually quite. There's a slim chance of that happening. That's why you didn't have crossovers all the time, even between TNG and DS9, because they're very far away from each other, so it's not practical.
Well, coming at it from a standpoint of friendship, Mariner was friends with Ceto. It wasn't necessarily that she knew Nova Squadron. She just happened to be friends with Ceto, who was a part of Nova Squadron, so she was aware of it. And my
Well,
understanding from the
She did
dialogue,
run up to them in that flashback scene, and she knew them all quite well.
right, because she
Yeah.
knew Ceto. So
Yeah.
my interpretation of that is, she was there and she hung out with Ceto and she was kind of in the wings. And when
Yeah.
Locarno says like, "Oh, you were practically a junior member of Nova Squadron," she's like, "I barely knew you." It makes sense from like you have different like in groups and different out groups in college and high schools. So at Starfleet Academy, I'm sure it'd be the same thing, where different career tracks and different training programs will have you interacting with similar people, different people, and you're all kind of in the same circle, but not quite, right? So I kind of got the impression that it was something of that nature. Not that Mariner was in the group, but she was aware and like on the outskirts of it. But
That
yeah,
did raise
no,
an interesting
yeah.
point about it. Is the idea is there only one Starfleet Academy? Because that doesn't seem like it'd be enough to service however many graduates they would need to keep the fleet running.
I mean, I'm sure that we have, satellite campuses or
Yeah.
online virtual
They
classrooms.
always just refer to the academy, don't they? As in the one on Earth. And
Right.
anytime you see the academy, it's always the Earth one. I know that Wesley did his testing in some offsite place.
Well, isn't it like a lot of educational institutions will have specific like residency programs with other schools and colleges, especially in the medical
Yeah,
field.
yeah.
So I
I don't know.
imagine the Vulcan Science Academy has its own program for Starfleet cadets.
Yeah, I know. It's maybe something we'll see explored if they ever make the Starfleet Academy show, which granted will be set 1,000 years later, but still.
Speaking of 1,000 years later,
Hmm.
Discovery is coming back. I believe that's next on the list. Am I correct in terms of
Yes.
airing order?
It depends if they
Well,
finish the reshoots before the writer's strike or the actor's strike.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's also going to depend on when Netflix now decides to drop Prodigy season 2.
That's right. Yes,
Mm.
that's true. Kudos to Star Trek Prodigy for getting picked up by Netflix, saved from whatever relegation Paramount determined
Yes.
was necessary. Folks, thank you so much for joining us here at We Are Starfleet. My name is Mike Slamer. With me is Ashley Thomas. Ashley, you want to tell us a little bit about where listeners can find you?
Yeah. You can hit me up on the tweets at The Nerdy Blogger. You can like my Facebook page, facebook.com/The Nerdy Blogger. You can read my words on my blog, nerdyblogging.wordpress.com. You can also read my words on fangirlish.com, where I write about film and television, mostly Star Trek. You can hear my words being read on the Sci-Fi 5 podcast, which is 5 minutes of science fiction history, 5 days a week. Full archive of that is available. And aside from here on We Are Starfleet, you can also hear me on Podcast 616 on the We Made This podcast network, chatting all things Marvel. I'm
Love
also
it.
also on Blue Sky. This is something that we discussed after we recorded our episode on Something Borrowed, Something Green, is like, fie upon you, Elon, for making us now have to list off 872 different social networks because nobody will pick one just yet because you have
Oh my
made Twitter a
God.
cesspit more than it already was. So,
Yes.
like, come on. Anyway, I'm on Blue Sky and Mastodon as well. So I'm all of my handles are the Nerdy Blogger. So.
Craig, Nemesis 4909, is that also on every single social network?
It's on 2 of them, Twitter and Blue Sky. That's all I've committed to so far. And it was originally a Resident Evil reference, not originally a Star Trek reference. So there we go. But otherwise, you can find me on Kneel Before Blog, which is kneelbeforeblog.co.uk. That's also on Facebook, Twitter, and Blue Sky. Just type it in, you will hopefully find it. It's a bit quiet over there at the moment. A few podcasty things going on. Monthly news podcast, upcoming 50th anniversary of Doctor Who discussion in preparation for the 60th anniversary. Might be doing a Hunger Games retrospective because the prequel's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So a few things happening there. I'm not reviewing anything at the moment, but that'll change probably when Doctor Who happens. So if you just go there, you'll see what's happening over there. And I've got a couple of We Made This episodes coming up on other podcasts. I'm on Loki whenever, I don't know when this is going out, but Loki episode 5, I believe, is my turn. And I did a Movieversaries episode with Bo where I talked about Pacific Rim and convinced him that he actually likes it rather than was determined not to like it.
I love that movie.
As he started out.
I wanted to like that movie and did not.
Revisit it.
I don't know, man. Like when I watched it, I was like, this is basically Street Sharks versus Transformers, and I am not nearly amused by this as I thought I would be. So, yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies ever. I love it. I love it to bits.
All right. Well, upon your recommendation, I might give it a shot.
Yeah. Just watch it in the right frame of mind, maybe.
All right.
I don't know.
Drunk? Got it.
Yeah,
All right, folks, and thank you so much. Again, my name is Mike Slamer. You can find the podcast, We Are Starfleet, at Starfleet Pod on both Twitter and Blue Sky. It's also on the Mastodon and Instagram, but I don't even kind of use those all that much. Honestly, my social it's so much work. It's so much work keeping everything updated all at the same time. I need a part-time job. Oh my God. Folks, remember to subscribe on whichever podcast platform you are listening to us on. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods. There's probably 17 other podcasting formats. If you like the show and you are so inclined, you can please leave us a 5-star rating and review. That would help us out quite a bit. If you want to check out other shows on the network, make sure you check out WeMadeThisNetwork.com. Wait a second. Is that the correct URL? Because I know Tony changed it.
Hold on. I think it's
No idea.
WeMadeThisPodcast.com.
We made this podcast? Okay.
Podcasts, plural. Yep. That's what it is.
Podcasts.
Yeah. We made this podcasts, plural.com.
Oh. Oh, and he changed. Oh, it's all different now. Neat.
Yeah.
Okay. So we made this podcasts.com is where you can find the rest of the shows. We made this covers everything from TV, film, there's comic books, there's music. If you want specific Lower Decks episode by episode breakdowns, make sure you check out Make It So, a Star Trek Legacy podcast. As Craig and Ashley have mentioned, they have been guests and hosts over there, so you will definitely hear them. Maybe you'll hear me. I don't remember if I did one or not. I may have done the first or second episode. I think I did the second episode. I forget. There's a lot of podcasts.
Experience for you.
Look, I'm just trying to assimilate them. Okay, I'm not. So, folks, yes, thank you so much for joining us. And with that, we are signing off.
Are you a fan of the Marvel Universe?
Can you tell your Kang from your Doctor Doom?
Well, if so, boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Podcast 616 is the We Made This Network's long-running Marvel podcast, and it's under new management.
We're your hosts, Ashley Thomas
and Hugh McStay.
And together, we are going to lead you every step of the way through the Marvel Cinematic Universe's upcoming multiverse saga.
Everything from She-Hulk to Avengers Secret Wars will be covered on the podcast in the kind of detail that would make a Wikipedia article blush.
We're going to have some detours into the wider Marvel world where we'll look at non-MCU projects dating all the way back to Marvel's origins in the groovy, funky 60s, and all the way up to the birth of the greatest franchise in cinema history.
And we'll be joined on our adventure by a roll call of guests so impressively knowledgeable that they'll make the Avengers themselves look clueless by comparison.
So if you like your opinions sharper than Wolverine's claws,
or takes hotter than the Human Torch's underpants,
then get Podcast 616 in your ears as a matter of urgency.
You'll love it 3000.
Podcast 616.
Disassemble.